there is validity to those concerns. It's true. It's true. We got to be a little bit more, all of us, myself included, have to be a little bit more open-minded. I will say this. I apologize to the chatters that heard me say black folk like that and put the emphasis. I didn't even know that was like a thing, but I will try to be more careful in the future when I'm responding to someone. Chat, this space is not a safe space for black folks here. When Hassan says normies and appealing to average people, he means white people. Normalcy is white supremacy. Hassan does not care about making this a safe space for black folks. What? I can't tell if you're baiting or if you're being serious, cuz. But I would say that the first part of your statement is not that this is not a safe space for black people, but the first part of the middle part of your sentiment is true. When I say normies and appealing to average people, I do mean white people. Is a white supremacist country that we live in. So this isn't to say that you should be open to white supremacist values or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of normies hold on, regardless of their background, to white supremacist values. But yeah, America is a white supremacist country. America is, in its foundation, a white supremacist nation. And those values are reflected all over the United States of America. You're saying white supremacy is ingrained in everybody's mind since childhood in the U.S.? Yes, that's precisely what I'm saying. This is something that I always talk about. You want to know what the irony is? The irony is that I looked at the Sudan clip that people were pointing to, and it was me trying to explain that black people were not voting for Eric Adams in the New York mayoral race. Okay, it's from a couple months ago. And a chatter was like, I'm black. They absolutely are going to vote for Eric Adams. You don't know black people. You should stop talking about black issues. And then he accused me of refusing to cover Sudan and that I only talk about black people in the confines of like an election.
And will some of the older voters, even in the black community and Latino community, come out and vote for him when you have Eric Adams, the incumbent mayor, on the ballot, who still has...
Dog, Eric Adams is despised by every group in the state, every group in the city. Like, the notion that older black voters are going to go for Eric Adams is insane. With all due respect, you don't know black people? With all due respect, I know polling. Black Gen Xers and black boomers, that's 100% a viable thing. You're not in the community. Man, shut the up. Please, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. We heard this with Cuomo too. Just shut up, dude. Shut up. I don't give a okay? God damn. Holy dude. It is so precious. Always is so precious. I can't have a conversation that pertains around black people voting patterns without everybody fucking chirping at me like I'm on a Klansman meet. Like I'm a grand wizard of the KKK or some Jesus Christ. I'm doing fucking elections analysis. God damn. Machine politics plays a formative role in the black vote in general, especially for older black voters. I know that. You just don't understand black people. Admit it. It's so stupid because it's not like you're pretending to know black culture law. You're analyzing posts like stupidity. Okay, don't even joke about this. I mean, your analysis on this is bad. Old black voters do typically not budge due to historical mistrust. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind. Dog, I know. I'm saying that the older black voting bloc goes off of the machine that directs them as an unstoppable force in whichever direction the Democratic Party wants to go towards. The argument is simple. Will the Democratic establishment machine, out of fear that they'll have like an uncontrollable force like fucking Eric Adams, try to move it and funnel older black voters as a voting bloc in the direction of Zohran Mamdani? And even if they don't do that, Will Zora Mamdani still win? And I think the answer is yes. Clown take. Can you shut the fuck up when it comes to black folks? You really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is the last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm going to ether you. Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this chat? Suck my cock, okay? You stupid fucking radlib. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of my chat. Stupid, moronic, fucking radlib nonsense. Suck my fucking dick. Fuck you. You think you have a pass in here to speak like this? Get the fuck out of here. God damn, dude. This kind of attitude is so insanely repulsive. Like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? We're talking about creating a larger, broad, people-backed movement and creating solidarity, and you immediately got root.com article regurgitators in here instantly being like, sweetie, you don't understand black people. Shut the fuck up. God damn. Yeah, I was in a much better mood 2 hours ago. One of the most annoying things on the planet is when any member of a marginalized group comes in here and is like, it's time for some standpoint theory. You don't understand. People do it all the fucking time. And then he accused me of refusing to cover Sudan and that I only talk about black people in the confines of like an election. And it's not only a cynical accusation, but it's also one that literally uses an ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign in Sudan that I have covered. He has now moved on to deflect the attention away to Sudan, which is the rapid support forces in Sudan also doing a man-made created famine. They are doing this with Israel's ally, the United Arab Emirates. The United Arab Emirates, which gets all of its weapons from the United States of America, is backing another ethnic cleansing campaign in Sudan. The reason why you don't get to hear much from Sudan is because, once again, it is America's ally doing it. Not as extensively as Gaza, of course, but I have covered. I mean, I've thought about this quite a bit, and not just on this issue, but just in general. It's a byproduct of the medium. It's not something that people understand, and that's also understandable. Why the fuck would you know what it's like to be live for 8 hours while you're talking about politics, and you're constantly, you constantly have a wave of people that are waiting for anything that they can clip to make people question whether or not you are sincere about your beliefs. The irony is, the person that I was short with was unironically saying, no, you don't understand black people. They love Eric Adams. And I was saying, black people are not monolithic in the way that they vote, and they're not going to go and vote for Eric Adams just because he's black. So the person that was cynically claiming that I am that I don't understand black issues and I should shut the fuck up about black issues, or that I only talk about black people within the limited confines of a election or as a voting block, all of those things are incorrect. All of it. And I think people constantly want, even in those sorts of clips where I'm like, obviously angry, frustrated, responding with anger, they want apologies. They want me to say, I'm sorry. And I don't know. It's just like, you should just behave in a way where you've hurt my feelings. You've hurt my feelings because I saw this clip. And I don't know your background. I don't know the full scope of your political perspectives. And in that moment, you're angry at a person and you're treating that person as you would treat any other person. You're just short with them because they are cynically coming in to bait you. And that's what it is. When you engage with baits, you keep in mind that you are being recorded and clipped to an audience that don't know you. I do think about that. It's just that, like, how do you explain to people that, yeah, if you're getting baited 1,000 times a day when you're trying to deliver political commentary on hot button issues, of course, you're going to be short. Okay. You're going to be short at times. I'm not perfect, bro. I think they just want charitability. Black people do not make up this community. Why aren't you making an effort to get them in this tent? That's what they are seeing from the outside. No, there is some truth to this, I think. But I also, like, I don't know what the demand is. Like, do we do a black content creator hour once a week? Like, I'm not saying that as like as an insincere response. Like, I genuinely mean it. Like, I'm white. I'm a white dude. You know, this is, I'm guided by my own lived experiences. I will never personally understand exactly what it's like to be a black person in America. This is something that I'm pretty open about. As a black man in this community, chatters are fatiguing me. They do not remember your 2018 to 2021 protest coverage. I mean, it's not even just that. It's like I've always talked about black issues, always, like, and forever. This is not something that I'm doing. This is not something that I'm doing as like checking a box, right? It's just, it is an ongoing injustice, and therefore it deserves coverage. And at most, what I can do is talk about my own personal experiences with marginalization as someone who is white, but also at the same time is not necessarily always perceived as white. As FD signifier would say, not white, not black, somewhere in between, spicy white, right? FD black, spicy white, somewhere in between. Because you have black people, you have white people, you have white people, and then you have spicy white people. I saw a TikTok of some haters saying you're racist and it looks like you struggle to not say the N-word. Meanwhile, go to your stream and you're chilling and having fun with the Crash Dummies boys. These guys try to make it constantly about you. So obvious they're hard to reach. No, this is like I said, this is one of the limitations of the medium, because no matter what something looks like, if you were to see it all the time, if you were in here, if you were to spend a decent amount of time in here, you get a pretty good understanding of what I'm about. You get a pretty good understanding of what I believe. You get a pretty good understanding of what I advocate for. But most people are not going to do that. Who the is going to go on Twitch and watch for 8 hours or 7 with the hopes that maybe they arrive organically at a time when I am sincerely talking about white supremacy, racism, issues that pertain to black people, right? I think the most valid points that come from not only just black chatters in general, but just like all chatters that come from a POC background, is that there is, in predominantly white spaces like this one, there is an attitude overall that anytime a black or brown person says something that is like, I don't feel safe here, even if it is a little bit, what is the word? Not overbearing, but like exaggerated, right? It's real to you. And people in the chat automatically go, this is woke radlib shit. And it is partially because of how I respond at times, including in the Sudan clip, because I do think someone trying to slam in standpoint theory and then cynically using the ethnic cleansing of Sudan as a own in an argument is cynical. That is cynical. But not all of the concerns are coming from a ridiculous place where people are simply crying. That's what it is. There are a lot of people, and this is, like I said, a predominantly white space, right? There are a lot of people in here that hear me say that and then think that it fits every single issue. If there are people in this community, including longtime fans like Sean the Black or moderators of mine that are black themselves, like Nice Bathroom, and they also are highlighting the problems that a lot of prominent black chatters are highlighting, then that means that there is a real issue. It is. There is. And I think a lot of people, they're not as like clip baited, like, but people do come in here and they spend a little bit of time in here, and maybe they hear me go, dude, stop with this woke nonsense or whatever in a moment. And that's their takeaway, where they're like, oh yeah, this is how we handle anytime. This is how we handle anytime a black person brings up a concern. And that's not appropriate. And this is an important issue to solve, because while on the one hand, there are people who cynically weaponize identity to derail conversations, there are also instances where the concerns are valid, and you have to go through it on an individual basis. And unfortunately, a lot of white people are very, no pun intended, black or white on this, where they just go, nope, I'm done. They sometimes go in the opposite direction as well, and they do the most annoying thing possible, even though sometimes it's valid, which is like the whole aesthetic, almost fetishized, otherized version of like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for my ancestors and their contributions to chattel slavery. It's like, you're going overboard. Calm the down. There are a lot of white people who do that as well, right? That's why I always say, be normal. All right. Nice bathroom. You still the only black in general. Okay, Gizmo, calm down. That was the first comment I saw from the mod team. Okay. Jesus Christ. Yes, I have a bunch of black moderators. Of course, this is a fairly diverse community, even though it's overwhelmingly white. America's overwhelmingly white. I find it frustrating because if you talk about black issues, people will say stay out of black business. If you spend more time on other issues, you get yelled at for not caring enough. I, as a black woman, appreciate the variety because it doesn't feel disingenuous. No, of course, I'm not going to change the dynamic of my coverage. I don't ever do that. As a matter of fact, this entire problem began because I treat everyone with the same smoke that I have. You, HasanAbi Piker, are overwhelmingly white as well. Exactly. Of course. Of course. Yes. I am white, guys. Do all Turks see themselves as white? I mean, depends. If you're a Turkish person living in Europe, you probably don't see yourself as white because whiteness is a social construct as well. Anyway, the frustrations that people have about the broader community not being more responsive to demands being made by chatters who are POC, by chatters who are black, by chatters who are brown, by chatters that come from marginalized backgrounds is valid. It is valid. This is one of the difficult aspects of building a broad coalition and building a broad community. And I think for a lot of white people, they go, well, I got issues too. Why the fuck aren't you talking about me? In many instances when black issues come up, right? Also, I feel like there's a thing about, there's a issue with the way I say black, apparently. I didn't know that was a thing. Like, apparently I was overemphasizing that I didn't know was a thing at all. You said it was some stink. That's what people were saying. I mean, I definitely did say it was some stink, but I didn't say it was some stink in that way, if you know what I mean. But I can see how the way people are covering it, I can understand why some people thought it. Now, of course, that's a little crazy because I saw people being like, oh, he just wanted to say the N-word. It's like, no, it's ridiculous. I was matching the energy of the chatter. Brother, you hit the hard B black. I don't know what that means. Am I doing it right now? You definitely got to watch your tone, bro. Sometimes you don't got enough black friends to be acting like that. I just never want to be like in the same boat as like Andrew Schultz. Because one of the things that I have noticed throughout my last 10 years, 12 years of being a political commentator who is very woke is that black people broadly get very mad at a quirked up white boy who feels a little too comfortable. That's another version of annoying guy who thinks they know everything about black existence in this country. It's true. And I get it. There are some people who do get very comfortable. There are moments where I have felt like I'm very comfortable as well. Is Kyle comfortable around black people? Yes. I've actually ironically talked about that as well. You have to socialize your dog with black and brown people when they're puppies. A lot of white people don't do that because they're just never around black or brown people. And then unironically, that's how you get racist ass dogs. Your accent kind of sounds racist when you say black. Okay, but do you see what we're doing? Do you see what we're doing now? Like we're literally, it's not even like tone policing at that point. It's like you're like, my point is, in this day and age, okay, I'm sorry, but in this day and age, if someone wants to be racist, they'll just be racist. Like, I don't know why people think this is, I don't know why people, make it seem as though there's like a person out there who is just, who spent the last 12 years very openly writing for black issues writing for all issues in general, who is who lets it out on a whim in that moment. It's like, oops, my secret's out. I spent this entire time trying to educate white people about white supremacy, only to throw it all away.
Because I think this is objectively funny. Now, here's the thing. Here's my most.
Oh yeah, I talked to Christian about this too, because I was like, what the? I didn't even know exactly which clip people were talking about, and he sent me the clip, and I saw it. You're getting baited again. First of all, I love Christian. Okay, everybody, calm down. Let's listen to what he has to say.
All right, as a black person who's been on his stream, okay, Hasan didn't do anything wrong politically. The point that he was making was correct. He's talked about Sudan before when he was making an overall point. It's a big thing on stream when you get pissed off and somebody is trying to like derail what you're talking about. However, the big however is the clip of Hasan has the same energy of that RDC clip where they're like, hold on, Tom. Hold on, Tom. We know you Spider-Man now, but hold on. Does that make sense to anybody? Hasan and I.
Yeah, I think is you're not being baited by Christian. You're being baited by people who are going to clip this. Hasan, please. Wait, what? I haven't said anything bad, have I? I don't think so. You guys need to calm down. If I'm going to get baited, I'm going to get baited. It's all good. It is what it is. It's not going to necessarily change a lot for people who want to cynically continue this conversation and draw some sort of like I told you so narrative out of it, to be like, no, I've known that Hasan was always this way. He's always been racist. Like I'm clarifying it for the members of my community, because one of the things I see all the time is when people say Hasan is much more understanding of people who were formerly white supremacists or people who exhibited like racist tendencies than he is with his black and brown chatters when they chirp at him. And that's not true. I think I get why you feel that way, but I think we have already established that white supremacy is so unacceptable that like you don't think about all of the people that were either immediately blocking, immediately banning, or that I'm yelling at all the time because it turns into background noise because we all agree that those guys are stupid. But another part of community building absolutely revolves around making sure that we are being normal and that we are engaging in emotional labor in general, right? And I think for that reason, moments like this get highlighted when I am treating a chatter that is cynically engaging with me, where they're saying like, well, as a black person, I feel like I don't have a place in this community, or that as a black person, you should stop talking about black issues. As a black person, you don't know every black person actually wants to vote for Eric Adams, like, which was literally the argument that chatter was presenting. But the reality of the matter is, I have my blind spots. This is certainly always going to be a blind spot of mine. At most, I can only compare it to my own personal experiences of marginalization that I have faced over the course of the past 2 years. Because a lot of these people that are yelling at me on TikTok don't know what my perspective on this issue is, don't know what my perspective or advocacy is on white supremacy, don't know all of the tens of thousands of hours that I have contributed to it. Christian is not one of those people, obviously. He knows. He knows what my background is. He knows what my worldview is. We've hung out in person. So that's a little different. But a lot of people don't know that. So they just see a white guy who thinks he's the king of woke, who knows better than black people. And he's just like speaking over black people. And it reminds them of different points of marginalization that they've experienced. And ironically, exactly what I explained to people yesterday about my own personal experiences with like Islamophobia, when people just like say you're a terrorist and no one actually speaks out and no one actually says, hey, that sounds kind of weird that you're calling a prominent Muslim critic of Israel an anti-Semitic terrorist. Doesn't that sound a little racialized? Like, it's a little weird. No one does that because you're of the mindset that it's like doubly fucked up, as I've explained time and time again, that you know that not only is that person engaging in Islamophobia, but you have to make that mental calculation on whether or not you can even address it, because you know the broader population also probably agrees with him. And you don't know if you want to go through that stress of realizing that the people that you like or the people that you admire, the people that you've actually appreciated for the longest time, also kind of are, racist in the same way. This is important to address because I'm saying that like that is a personal point of marginalization that I've experienced over the course of the last 2 years, especially so. And that is the only way that I can compare it to the ways in which I think Black content creators on TikTok and elsewhere are looking at it from the outside and thinking, oh, it's the same thing that's happening, where I'm a white guy and I'm refusing to listen to Black chatters and community members that have been in here. It's important to have this conversation, especially because, yes, white chatters in this community also need to hear this. Because, once again, you're anonymous. You don't have the 12-year background that I have, where people that are tuning in kind of have a little bit more charitability towards what I'm saying because they know what my perspective is. They don't know what your perspective is. They just see you as a random dot in the chat. And if they hear it over and over again, if Black chatters come in here and they see a bunch of other chatters over and over again being like, your concerns are invalid, you're just crashing out, you're just doing drama, you're being sensitive, they think, okay, this is a community comprised entirely of out-of-touch white people who don't want to listen to demands and concerns being made by Black and brown people. There's a limit to it, is what I'm saying. There is validity to those concerns. It's true. We got to be a little bit more, all of us, myself included, have to be a little bit more open-minded. You can't be an entirely white community that says, well, I'm doing my part. I'm speaking out against white supremacy. And if Black people in the chat are saying like, this feels a little strange, anytime we chirp about anything, everybody starts piling on and says, yo, you're just chirping. Sometimes it's not chirps. Sometimes it's valid. You feel me? Not everyone is trying to make drama out of it. How did you make this about us? No, this is my responsibility. I'm literally in the process of going through reshaping the community. Of course, ultimately it is my responsibility. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm having this conversation. That's why I'm not saying it's just like simple drama. It's not simple drama. We have to be more careful with the way that we respond to people. And it is upon me to be more open-minded and kinder to the best of my ability. Obviously, I have my fucking weak moments, okay? When I have my weak moments, I'm going to be chirping at people. And sometimes if those things get posterized, it's going to look to the rest of the internet that don't know what my perspective is, what I believe, what I advocate for. They're going to think, nah, this is yet another white guy who, doesn't want to sit his white ass down and listen. If your advocacy revolves around, you don't understand Black people, all Black people want to vote for is Eric Adams, and I respond with, no, that's not the case. And then you respond with, well, what about Sudan? You never cover Sudan. You should shut the fuck up about Black issues. You only care about Black people when you talk about elections. Well, that's a little crazy. That's an invalid comment. Heated moment. Invalid comment. I receive it 1,000 times a day. And then I, boom, pop off. And then a bunch of dudes with N-word compilations that are, 30 minutes long will cynically use that to be like, see, he hates Black people. And then other people who are Black see that and they go, you know what? This Hasan guy, I agree. He is racist. They don't even think where this is coming from or what the point is. They just see a clip and they respond. And then there's a take economy. And then it explodes into a much larger point of contention. But it is valid. There are concerns in there that are valid, even if the clip itself is, being negatively perceived by a lot of people because I'm popping off at another person that is derailing the stream and using their own personal background as a way to make like a stupid fucking take. Whereas as a Black woman, I can say that Black people do not like being corrected by people outside of our community, even when they're right. I can't understand their thought process seeing you yell at a Black man like that. I can understand their thought process seeing you yell at a Black man like that. I didn't like that either. And I also don't agree with all your takes, but I also agree with you about bringing up Sudan as a gotcha when you're talking about something unrelated. Also, you yell at everyone like that and you're definitely not racist. Yeah, I do. I do yell at everybody like that. The difference is that chatter said black folk, and I repeated it back to him when responding to the chatter. Clown take. Can you shut the fuck up when it comes to black folks? You really don't want to talk about us unless it comes from voting. When is the last time you spoke about Sudan? I'm going to ether you. Any other black folk want to engage in radical activist language in this chat? And when people don't understand that that's me, that's just how I respond to anyone that would be like, oh, if I was talking about like trans issues or something, and then a trans chatter was like, you need to stop talking about trans issues or whatever. You don't know anything you're saying. And it was like it was a similar situation. I would respond exactly in the same way, which is ironic because there are clips out there where I've done that, which is why a lot of people also say Hasan is transphobic. Look at that one trans chatter he responded to. They do. There's also another famous one. This is the smoke I offer everybody is equal rights and equal lefts. Is equal opportunity smoke. But of course, sometimes it makes people outside of the community look at that and go, ooh, what the f***? That's crazy. And sometimes it even makes people inside of the community go, ooh, what the f***? See, Demi Charm is in here. Is my favorite. She is my favorite. I am in the community. I watch every day. And I have had issues. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, Demi's in here. It's time. Demi. Shut the f*** up, nice bathroom. God damn it. Don't give her courage. Why are you guys giving? Stop. No, we're not doing this. We are not doing this. We are not encouraging Demi, especially right now, because anytime I respond to Demi, especially in this very sensitive moment, people do not know the back and forth that we have. For example, people cannot comprehend that in a community that has 30,000 concurrent viewers live every day, that I single out chatters and know their background and know their perspective and constantly have chatters that I argue with. Yeah, the black folk grabbed me by the neck and I was transported back to 2004 East Texas. Oh my God. Okay. Well, I will say this. Okay. I apologize to the chatters that heard me say black folk like that and put the emphasis. I didn't even know that was like a thing. But I will try to be more careful in the future when I'm responding to someone. I will, however, say that there's probably going to be instances in the future as well where someone comes in and says something really fucking stupid, like, you don't understand black people, they love Eric Adams. And I will try to be more careful with the way that I respond. But it's definitely like, that's a crazy take. Like, I had to go and search what people were yelling at me over. And I could not believe it. You sound sarcastic and you're laughing. And now you're saying you'll do it again. How is that an apology? I'm saying that I'm an imperfect vessel. I'm an imperfect vessel. If we're tuning into like how I'm emphasizing certain words at that point, like, especially in 2025, I don't think people are spending most of their life talking and trying to educate white people on white supremacy only to then secretly let it slip out. Okay. That's what I mean. I think, guys, especially if you're a black person living in the United States of America, I think you know this better than anybody else, but like, we're kind of in a weird situation right now where it's no longer considered inappropriate to just like be openly racist, right? Like, we all recognize it, right? If you have any point of marginalization, if you're a woman, it's not even remotely considered inappropriate to behave in a misogynistic way or behave in an openly violent way towards women. If you're a black person, it's not considered even remotely inappropriate at this point to just like straight up be racist as hell. It's rewarded. My point is, I don't think I'm doing a good enough job if I'm secretly a white supremacist. I don't know what they want you to do to fix their feelings being hurt, though. No matter what you do, someone will complain. Some don't want you to speak on us. Some want you to bring awareness. Just be yourself, and the black fans that want you to be here will be here. Yeah, that's how I always operate, and that's how I always will operate. This is not the first time that people have said Hasan demonstrates a lot of anti-blackness or whatnot. But there is obviously, it gets harder and harder to parse through what is valid concerns from the community and invalid cynical attacks. And sometimes even valid concerns are weaponized. In many instances, as a matter of fact, valid concerns are also weaponized by bad faith actors and highlighted, and then it turns into this massive thing. That's the reason why I wanted to address this, partially because I want to make sure that Black people don't feel uncomfortable in this community, and that they don't, and Black and brown chatters don't feel like this is a space where if they bring up any concerns, they get dogpiled. It's not that different from me accidentally popping off on a chatter and then quickly apologizing, right? Sometimes I will misread what they're saying and I yell at them, and then chat immediately starts dogpiling, and then I go, oh my God, I misread that, I'm sorry, and we move on, right? It's not that different, but those moments, especially if those moments are representative of the exact same kind of marginalization that Black and brown people have experienced elsewhere, it makes people think, oh my God, this is yet another space that I thought was safe for people like myself, and it's not. As a Sudanese, I genuinely think this community, the crisis in Sudan has been reduced to a bad faith talking point, and people in this community only frame the network that is Sudan as a distraction with no care for the humanity of Sudanese or knowledge about the solidarity between Sudan and Palestine. More news coverage will be dope. Yes. I will do more coverage on Sudan. I have covered it, never to the same extent as Gaza, of course, and partially because it's not because of the metric ton of violence that the people of Sudan are experiencing, or not because it's like inconsequential or anything like that. Of course, I think it's massively consequential. Part of the reason why is because I'm nowhere near as well read on Sudan. I don't know enough about what's going on in Sudan, so I'm going to skip that. I know that frustrates people, the foreign policy Andy's in here, which is, once again, my inability to have knowledge over everything that's happening around the world. But also, the other reason why it's like been turned into this almost meme is because of how people have cynically used that as a talking point so much, all the way down to Cory Booker, right? Like, there are so many people that always go, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? And the real reason why they're saying it is because they're like, shut the fuck up about Israel. Same with Congo as well. Sometimes people will also bring that up as well. The most like extreme version of that was Andrew Cuomo literally going up on the debate stage and being like, you want to do BDS on Israel, but why not Uganda? Like, that is the most extreme version of this, right? That's the most cynical, extreme version of this. That's why it comes across like it's been reduced to that. So as far as like community building and as far as like harboring a safer space, not to sound like Israel doing safe zones versus partially safe zones, but like, this is not a fully safe space because there's going to be people who are engaging in the conversation with microaggressions. They're going to be hateful people, of course, because this is open for everybody. This is a public space where anyone from any background can come in. There's a ton of fucking Nazis that come in here as well and constantly derail the conversation. There's a ton of racist right-wingers that come in here to present themselves as, they try to do like, I'm a black man and I think you need to stop talking about black people, all this stuff like that happens all the time as well. And obviously going through that dynamic, going like this is a great example. For everything you've done for the black community, they just betray you like this. That's a stupid ass fucking take, man. What do you mean they just betray you like this? Like, you can't say shit like that. That's a ridiculous thing to say. First of all, allyship is not transactional. I say this all the fucking time, and I think a lot of people need to understand that. What have I said time and time again? I don't do this so that black people think I'm cool, okay? I do this because it's right. Like, and you should remember that, okay? Black people don't owe me shit. No one owes me anything. All I can expect is charitability. That's it. And all you should expect is charitability. And even if you don't receive it, you should not say shit like this. Okay, hold on. What? Doors open. And stuff like this gets unnoticed in the community. No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like, I recognize that. That is what makes black and brown chatters feel like this is a hostile space. We can't be talking like that in the chat. And I don't want that kind of, I personally take responsibility over it. It is the vibes that I put out that allow people to feel comfortable talking like that. You can't be doing that. How many times do I have to go through this? The reason why people do this is because of what they see. They see one video. It's just they don't know the medium. They don't understand that they don't have the same information that you've downloaded about what Twitch streaming looks like. Christian, on the other hand, does know this. He's been on the stream. Sean the Black also knows exactly what that looks like. Okay. So if they're all saying that, you know, the clip looks bad and they understand why people feel the way that they do, yeah, you got to address it, because these aren't random people that don't understand what streaming looks like. They are streamers themselves. They do live streaming and they do political commentary as well. So obviously they deal with a bunch of shitheads themselves. If people don't owe you anything, then why are you acting like you owe them something? Serious question, by the way. This seems like a way to just take advantage of charitable people. No, the reason why I'm addressing this is not because of all the outside people that are fucking chirping. The reason why I'm addressing it is because this is a community-wide issue. That's why I'm addressing it. The way I react to chirpers and my inability to sift through constructive criticism versus cynical derailers, because oftentimes cynical derailers and people who want to attack me and derail the conversation will use the mask of constructive criticism to derail the conversation, has created an environment where people also respond in the same short tone to Black and brown community members that have grievances that are valid. I don't want Black and brown people to feel unsafe when they come into this chat. Of course, I don't want that. I don't want trans people to feel unsafe when they come into this chat. There is a level of safety that I promise when I'm managing this community.
So Hasan, I watched that clip where you got on that chatter for telling you to talk about Sudan, and honestly, to me, it's like, when are folks gonna realize that as a non-Black person, you can't be out here using an uppercase B when you say Black? Like, it makes you sound like Bull Connor. You sound like you're from Rome, Georgia. You sound like Martin Taylor Greene. You sound racist as shit. It's because y'all niggas be using that uppercase B. You be like, Black. It's like, whoa. Calm down.
Brother, everyone here knows you're not racist. This won't change their minds. Having to apologize for saying Black folk in a racist tone is the reason why normies are weirded out by leftist bases and only fuels the Hasan is scared of his audience narrative, and none of his opinions are his own. Being a leftist fucking sucks. It's a new storm every day. I don't care, because I'm not doing this. I don't do anything because I'm worried about the way that I'm going to be perceived by people who are on the outside. If I'm doing something or if I'm addressing something, it's because I think it is important to address. Yes, a lot of people are also, who are knowledgeable of my background or knowledgeable of my my opinions, are just saying that, like, yeah, this looks bad to outsiders. But ultimately, the real reason why I'm doing this is because it's not, like, it comes across as an insincere grievance, because you're like, if you're white and you come in here and you're like, dude, what are you talking about? You literally spend all day, every day talking about white supremacy and are even oftentimes victim to it as well. Like, what the fuck are these people chirping about? If that's your attitude, if it's like automatically dismissive, and you think that everyone is being cynical when they bring this up, you're not wrong. There's a valid grievance, especially because what I say and what I do does have the capacity to influence people in this chat. And after a certain point, I think it's important to address it. That's it. I'm not saying that people are valid for saying I'm a white supremacist because of my tone or some shit. Okay, I'm not doing that either. I've even gone as far as explaining that, like, if someone like myself had that kind of attitude, if I believed in that, if I thought that, like, if I had white supremacist values, like, I don't think I would be sheltering it. I think we are now living in a unique time frame where you can be overt with your white supremacist opinions and values. It wouldn't be like as hidden.
It's like, who are you feeling like, bro? Come down with that, Hasan. All these non-Black folk, come down with that shit. I'm crying. Just say Black. you see how lowercase letter Black. You don't gotta come like Black. No. Just Black, not Black. Black. like calm the down. What are you feeling like? So Hasan, I watched that
Yeah. Maybe it's just my whiteness here, but since when is tone policing something that's worth considering? Like, understand the issue. See, this is the other side of the story. Okay. For a lot of white people, I think they see this and they see content creators that are calling me out for the tone that I use. And they go, this guy who I've been tuning into on and off for the past 10 years, who never shuts the up about white supremacy and black issues, is getting blistered, getting daggered on even the tone of how he said the word black, then so that's the other side of the story as well. So a lot of people see this kind of stuff and they go, oh, we're all because most white people probably have, done infinitely worse racialized crimes overall than simply saying black people with a hard B, as people are saying I was doing. And they go, people are being overly sensitive. Like, I understand the concerns coming from everyone. I mean, this person is just like jokingly referencing it. He's not like, I'm showing people who are fans, who are in this community, who are knowledgeable of the streaming space or knowledgeable of my background. I'm not showing you the videos of people being like, I got it. It's his dad is a billionaire. And finally, the billionaire secret capitalist has shown his true nature about how much of a white supremacist he is. Like, they're not, they're just chirping into the wind. Just let them fucking chirp. Who cares? And if people are fans of those people and they think that, there's not really much I can do about it. There's not really much I can do about it beyond just, continuing to do my advocacy in the way that I do. Just because there is a bad faith outrage campaign designed around an issue doesn't mean that there isn't a valid concern. Okay. So it's important. It's important to be more careful. And it's important for chatters to also reflect on that, especially because even if black community members know I'm not racist, they don't know if you're not racist. You're just anonymous, okay? And if you're coming in and you're immediately stamping out black and brown chatters for addressing any concerns that they have, even if they might be more charitable to me because they know what my background is, they know what they know what my advocacy is, they don't know your background, they don't know your advocacy. And if they see it over and over again, then they're going to start thinking, well, this is not a safe enough space. And I take ownership of, oh my God, Jesus Christ. What the she came in and was like, nah, enough. She came in and was like, enough of this bullshit, Dad. God damn. You do be getting mad though? Yeah, and I will continue to get mad. And there's gonna be moments where, there's gonna be more clips in the future. It's just, I can't guarantee that. But what I will try to do to the best of my ability, as I always have and will continue to do so, is try to make sure that there's not unnecessary hostility towards people, or that this community is another place that black and brown people thought that they could go to without having to experience the same bullshit that they have to go through in many other spaces that are entirely comprised of white people, where they have to also somehow advocate for their humanity every day. One thing that I have to address once again, over and over again, is that no matter what people say, you cannot just go, oh, I'm out. Why would I advocate for black issues if black people are going to treat even Hasan like this? I've seen him advocate for black issues for years and years. And even then they're shitting on him and they're saying he's a white supremacist, blah, 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 all this stuff, even off of a tone. Like, remember, it's not conditional. You're not weak. Okay. You have a moral compass. And you can't be one of those bitch made motherfuckers out there who go, oh, people got too woke. And then I decided, fuck this, I'm out. You can't do that. Allyship or advocacy is not transactional. You do it because it's right. You do it because you want to uplift people. You don't do it because you want whatever group that you are advocating for to have your back, or to always be charitable to you, or to like you, or to think you're cool. That's not why I do it. Okay. And that's not why you should do it either. This is for the white people in the chat. And a part of that is also listening to the concerns that come from black and brown people as well. I'm not doing this in a way where it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm genuflecting. I apologize for my Yakubian activities. I apologize for my caucasity. I'm not like doing this for an optics player or whatever. If you personally think I'm a white supremacist, secret racist, stick around and you'll probably figure out that that's not correct. If you don't want to do that and you've made up your mind, well, it is what it is. Not much I can do about that. All right. Nobody seriously thinks you're a white supremacist. Oh, chatter. There are definitely people who think I'm a white supremacist.